Welcome to Swiss Gold Global. Today we're going to be speaking about gold, silver, product integrity. My name is Bill Rao. I am the founder and CEO of Swiss Gold Global. And here on the left-hand side, you see me standing in part of the workshop area of Argor Horias, holding a 9 kilogram gold 99.9 pure bar, which is about to go into the machining area to produce some of our private collectibles and ingots. You also see that I'm also a licensed precious metal trader. I'm a general manager of a Dubai company called New Golden Life DMCC at the Dubai Multi-Commodity Center here in the UAE, and my license is now valid until 2019. Company history: well, the Swiss company is founded in 2008. We have the DMCC, Dubai Multi-Commodity Center, incorporated in the UAE. We have strategic partnerships with the world's best precious metal London Bullion Market accredited referee refiner Argor Horias in Switzerland. We have strategic partnership with the world's leading cloud mining company, Genesis Mining. And we have strategic partnership with the London Bullion Market accredited precious metal storage facility called Loomis, a Swedish company in Zurich, Switzerland, and in Dubai. What will you learn today? We're going to be speaking about Swiss Gold Global product integrity. Are Swiss Gold Global precious metal products certified? Understanding market spot price. What is product conversion? And last but certainly not least, why gold and silver? So we're going to start actually why gold and silver. When I was first introduced to this world, why gold and silver, I was introduced by a precious metals banker, gold and silver banker, actually in Zurich, Switzerland, back in 2003. And he actually informed me that throughout history, rulers of empires, royalty, and the financial elite have always put part of their paper wealth into gold and silver. And we're about to learn why that is actually the case. But let me ask you this question. What could you buy? So let's do a comparison. A 50-year comparison of buying power of gold versus the US dollar. Now, we're using the US dollar because it is the reserve currency of the world since the Bretton Woods Agreement post-Second World War. So $3,500 worth 50 years ago today is still worth $3,500. Now, $3,500 back in 1971 would actually buy you 100 ounces of gold, because in 1971, up until 1971, from 1933 up till 1971, gold had a fixed price of $35 an ounce until President Nixon, of course, changed it. They actually removed the gold standard, so there was no backing of gold to the US dollar. Primarily, all currencies were pegged to the US dollar, and the US dollar was anchored by gold. That changed. It really became what we call today the petrodollar, where a deal was really done between Saudi Arabia and the US that when it came to the transactions of any oil, it had to be, of course, in the US dollar. That's why it's given the name the petrodollar. The $3,500 in 1971 would buy you 100 ounces of gold, and today it has a market price, buying power price of $125,000 versus $3,500 50 years ago as buying power today of $3,500 US dollars, the same as any other currency as well. Let me ask you, let's look at gasoline. This is certainly one expense that people actually have to buy on a weekly basis for living, of course, fuel for heating homes, for travel, etc. Well, today, $3,500 is going to buy you 1,500 gallons of gasoline, or the equivalent of just over 5,600 litres of gasoline. If your vehicle had 20 miles per gallon, you could drive approximately 30,000 miles with that vehicle. But if you had been diversifying your savings into gold, your gold today which cost $3,500 in 1971, it's going to buy you over 54,000 gallons of gasoline, or the equivalent of just over 205,000 litres of fuel, which is going to drive you, instead of 30,000 miles, it's going to drive you actually well over 1 million miles. So there is a significant difference in the buying power, the wealth of the store of value between US dollar, other currencies as well, and gold. Your home, well, the average median home price today in the US, let's say it's $200,000, your $3,500 would actually be about 2% of that particular buying price. But the gold today that you have, the value of that gold you have today, which costs $3,500, would actually be $125,000 that you'd actually have to put towards that $200,000 home, which is actually 63%. It's a long way from 2%. Let's look at the burrito index, or a meal as an example. Food. How many burritos can $3,500 buy today? Approximately 470. But again, that gold that cost $3,500, you had it in your hand today, and you wanted to liquidate that to buy burritos, you could buy over 16,000 meals with that. You could certainly feed a very good town with that $3,500 from 1971 with gold. Let's look at other services. Let's look at flights. New York City to LAX, Los Angeles. The total round trip with $3,500 today, you could do about 10 trips. Well, with gold that you purchased in 1971 today, you could do approximately 357 return flights with that from New York City to Los Angeles. Again, a store of value. So let's look at this. The US dollar and all other fiat currencies purchasing power, no question about it. It is diminishing. In fact, the rule of thumb is less than every 10 years, your buying power of your currency, whether it is euro, US dollar, Swiss franc, Australian dollar, regardless of the currency, is going to lose more than 50% of its buying power in that time, which means that you're trading your time for a currency which is losing buying power. We call that unjust weights and measures. And this is why people who have the understanding about wealth preservation always seek to put part of their wealth, may only be 5 or 10% of the collective wealth, paper wealth, into physical gold. So let's look what the US dollar versus the gold. Gold purchasing power compared to the US dollar, well, it's actually priceless, as these simple examples have just shown. Let's look at silver. Let's look at a 50-year comparison of buying power of silver compared to the US dollar. Well, again, $3,500 is still worth $3,500 today as it was 50 years ago. $3,500 in 1971 at a price of about $1.55 an ounce is going to buy you over 2,200 ounces of silver. Today that has a value of approximately $40,000 based on a silver price of approximately $18. A couple of years ago, it was at $50. It was at $30. It was at $16. Silver is also, of course, an industrial metal, so demand and supply. But long term, it's a very good metal for wealth building and wealth preservation. For generational wealth preservation, it is also fantastic, same as gold. Let's look at some simple examples here. Let's look at food. It's primarily gold and silver has been money for 5,000 years. Gold was always used for larger transactions, international trade, etc. Silver was all more so the people's money. So how many burritos could you buy with $3,500? Well, we know it's 470. But that silver, purchased in 1971, is going to get you over 5,000 burritos today. Why? Because it is a store of value. It has purchasing power. Let's look at gasoline, another well-needed commodity. Again, we know that $3,500 is going to buy you 1,500 gallons of fuel and drive you approximately 30,000 miles. Well, that silver that you'd saved may have even been handed down to you, generationally wealth. Maybe it was handed down from your parents or grandparents to you, a transfer of wealth. Transfer of wealth is important. While paper transfer of wealth is losing buying power, assets such as gold and silver is preserving that transfer of wealth. This is what the financially elite, rulers of empires, and of course royalty truly understand. So the silver that you could buy for $3,500 is going to give you over 17,000 gallons of fuel and drive you nearly 350,000 miles compared to 30,000 miles, well over 10 times. So a significant difference in buying power compared to currency. So how do you get started with Swiss Gold Global to actually be able to preserve your wealth from fiat currency, your paper currency, into some tangible assets such as Swiss certified gold and silver? The most important thing is that once you become a free member or an affiliate member, is that you log into your account and you complete your account confirmation. KYC, know your customer. This is a requirement through international anti-money laundering regulations. It must be done. So as you can see down on the bottom left-hand side, it says complete account confirmation. You need to do this. You click on that, you'll be able to complete the form, fill in the form, you then print it out. You may have to go to a local printing place to get that done, but you need to do that. Then you need to fill it out, of course, print it out. You could use your telephone to take a photo of the document after you've signed it with your government-issued photo ID with signature. International passport, driver's license is acceptable. And then you would send that by email, if you like, to support@swissgoldglobal.com. Now, if all the credentials are correct and it's legible, the signatures are in their place, your account will be approved generally within 24 hours, except for public holidays and, of course, weekends. I mentioned that our strategic partnership is with the refinery Argor Heraeus. Argor Heraeus is a London Bullion Market accredited refiner. We choose to deal with this refinery. And there's only 5 refineries in the world which are London Bullion Market accredited to be a referee refiner to other producers. So in one sense, they are a watchdog for other LBMA refineries around the world. We also have Loomis, a strategic partnership with them. Now Loomis, for some of the people who have been with us for many years, they may be used to hearing the word Viamat. Well, Loomis is a Swedish company listed on the public exchange, and they purchased Viamat, which was actually a 3rd generation operation private company in Switzerland by the Moser family. Quite a remarkable story actually, but in 2014 you can see that it was purchased by the group Loomis, which is a huge company, and of course they've still kept the precious metals division in various parts of the world. So your precious metals are stored in Loomis in Switzerland. We can arrange that and we do have people coming there through appointment to collect their precious metals, and we can do the same in Dubai as well. Product assaying. This is really important to understand. Now on the products themselves, which are Argor Heraeus produce, we do not produce products of any other refiner. We do not handle personally ourselves your gold or silver products. The products that you purchase come directly from the refiner, Argor Heraeus. They're shipped directly from southern Switzerland on the Italian border to Loomis International near the Cloten Airport in Zurich, which is approximately 250 kilometers, stored under a London Bullion Market accredited facility. When you place your orders for shipment, it's then processed there under video camera. It's then packed into FedEx. It's then fully insured and shipped directly to your address. The important things to note about this assaying is that is really the melter assayer. You can see here the Argor melter assayer stamp here and down here, melter assayer, and it's certifying this piece of gold. Produced in Switzerland by Argor Heraeus, its weight 100 grams, it's fine gold, 24 karat, 999.9 pure. It also has a number on this particular bar as well. Many of our products also carry what is called the Kinnabar. Now, some of the product line are referred to by the name Kinnabar. These products incorporate Kinagram security technology. Kinagram is the world's leading foil-based optical security device for the protection of government documents and banknotes. The refiner, Argor Heraeus, has secured the worldwide exclusivity for the application of the Kinagram technology to precious metals. And they've developed a proprietary technique to apply the kilogram device directly onto the surface of the minted gold products, not the silver, resulting in the name Kinobar. Our products actually have that and available for you, because counterfeiting of gold and actually silver does go on. You can see one of the products here, of course. This is the 1 ounce, which is 31.103 grams of pure gold, and you can see the kilogram on the back of that one, the security seal that actually was proprietarily exclusive to Agor Horias. Let's look at the range of products and bars that we make available. Our range really starts from 1 gram, which is 0.032 of a troy ounce. We have 5 gram, we have 1 ounce, we have 50 gram, we have a 100 gram bar, which is 3.216 of a troy ounce. We also have the silver bars, 250 gram bar, which is a bit over 8 ounces. We have the 500 gram bar, which is 16 ounces, and we also have the 1 kilogram bar, which is 32.152 of pure silver, 99.0 silver, and they all bear the Melter Assayer stamp of Agor Horias on the actual bars. Now these bars here, what we call cast bars, these are minted bars, different production. The result is the same, except the surface area. This is minted through through plates, and quite a bit of tooling involved in cost with that, same as this one here. This one here is what we call a poured bar or a cast bar. That's why you have a different surface finish. But when it comes to the value of these bars, they're identical. It's the melt value. It's the intrinsic value that, of course, interests people in wealth preservation. We also have a range of other bars. Now, we actually have what we call the Kinahart. Now, I know many of you women out there and men like to buy this as gifts. This is also a product from Agor Horias. It's certified to 99.9 pure. This one's a 10 gram one. It also bears, as you can see, the beautiful kilogram on the back of the actual heart. You can wear this as a jewelry item, okay? But we actually have, it's 99.9 finest. We only have the 5 gram, which is 0.161 of an ounce, and we have the 20 gram. So you're like wearing your wealth. This is why it says when gold is not enough, Kinahart. Just like some of the cultures, Indian culture, many Eastern European cultures, they like to wear their gold, wear their wealth in one respect. So you can certainly do that with the Kinahart. You now have the multi-card. The one on the left is called the 5 gram multi-card, where you have 5 individual 1 gram certified ingots of gold. And on the right hand side, we have the 10 1 gram certified ingots of gold, making liquidation very flexible for you. Sometimes if you have a 100 gram bar, you don't want to liquidate the 100 gram bar, but maybe having, this divisible in tenths is actually quite practical, depending upon where you are in the world. Easy to actually liquidate. They're also 99.9 in finest, 5 gram, and 10 grams in total. And of course, they all carry the Agor Horias Melter Assayer stamp for certification. Now, we also produce private collectibles, private biblical collectibles. This one here is on the story of Joseph. Now, Joseph, going back to the ancient scriptures, of course, speaks about putting ancient Egypt with the Pharaoh on a savings plan. Tell the story just very briefly for those who don't know it. Joseph had a dream, and Pharaoh had a dream, of course, and Joseph could interpret that particular dream in one respect, where ancient Egypt was going to have 7 years of prosperity followed by 7 years of famine, which actually did occur. So what Joseph's wisdom, of course, said, we need to put the nation on a savings program. So they actually saved 20% of the gross domestic product from all that was produced in ancient Egypt at that time. And of course, when the famine did come, when the season did change to a winter season, the famine came, of course, he was able to open the storehouse. Now, they didn't give it away. Of course, they sold it. And it's recorded as one of the greatest transfers of wealth in history. And this is really a great metaphor for today, because most people today do not save. And if they do save, they save in paper assets which are losing value. Okay, so this is a great way to be able, it's a lesson for us today that yes, we still need to be able to apply these great wisdom and principles that Joseph taught the Pharaoh many thousands of years ago. And this is the brand name Unique, which is produced by ourselves as well, for our various members around the world. It also bears the certification and Meltrosea stamp, not just on the certificate that you can see. When you turn the coin over on the reverse side of the coin, you'll actually see it stamped into the actual collectible. A purity of 99.9 pure, also its weight of 5.7 grams, and this is just a great way for private collectibles. And also historically, is that we believe historically governments have not confiscated gold of religious collectability. So this might be another way for some people in some parts of the world that you can preserve your wealth due to this religious collectability. Maybe the governments in those parts of the world may be reluctant to confiscating that due to that. And this is one of the other reasons why we also produce that. You can't say it's guaranteed, but this is why it was actually done. We also have the unique, this one's called the Gold Tribe. It's based on the story of Moses. This one is actually 10.367 grams of pure gold. It's 99.9 in fineness, and it's also a private collectible. And we also have silver. We have a private collectible, a 3-ounce private collectible of the story of King David. It's a beautiful big silver coin under our brand trademark Unique. That's also available for our members around the world to be able to convert their grams and of gold and silver to as well. Let's discuss now what is market spot price. There are a lot of myths about this and a lot of misunderstandings. So let's just touch on this briefly. Primarily when you turn on the television and listen to gold price or oil price, you get different understanding about that. So what is actually the gold fixing, and what does it actually mean? Primarily, the gold fixing happens twice per day. One around about 10:30 in the morning London time, and one in the afternoon at 10:30. It's fixed by a combination of banks who are involved in the London bullion market fixing, and silver is fixed once per day. All of our buying occurs from Argo Horizon directly. I buy the gold at market spot price, London bullion market spot price. Sorry, London bullion market buy price at that particular time, and then we then take a fee of 2.97%, which is $29.70, and every $1,000 is removed, and 1% of that goes back in commissions to our affiliates. But primarily, this covers the cost on the transactions and administration of doing this. As you can see here, the market spot price, when you turn on the TV, often you'll see the gold price, you'll see the oil price, and today we even see the Bitcoin price. But let's discuss the gold price. It speaks about a good delivery bar. A good delivery bar. And a good delivery bar, so when you hear about market spot price, it's specific. So it's a London bullion market refiner, and each bar has its own characteristics. It has to be 995 pure or better. Its weight is actually 400 troy ounces. So in today's price, it's probably 400 troy ounces. 400 troy ounces, let me just do some numbers here. I think it's around about $400,000, just roughly. Actually more, it's probably closer to $500,000 in value, or the equivalent of 12.44 kilograms in weight. That is what a good delivery bar is, and that's what the spot price is speaking about. It also is that the gold will be unallocated at the point of trade with the right to allocate it. So when you buy a contract at spot price, you're buying a contract to buy it, but it's unallocated. That means it's got to actually there'll be other charges on top of that to take delivery and production for that. You're going to add production, and you have to add shipping. Now there's a way to calculate that, which I'm going to actually just teach you, because it's going to give you an understanding of how to maximize your dollars when actually wanting to take physical delivery of your gold. But just recapping on this, when you see the market spot price, it's a non-physical price, it's a contract price. The purity is 995 pure or better. All of our gold is 999.9 pure. The weight is just a good delivery bar of 400 troy ounces, which is 12.44 kilograms. The gold is unallocated, it's not ready to be shipped to you. Then you have to add production and shipping to that, which gives you a percentage over and above the market spot price. So let's just do some simple maths here. How do I get the most gold and silver for my dollar? Really important that you actually understand this. I'm going to give you some tips now on that. As we just saw, the good delivery bar is 400 troy ounces, or 12.44 kilograms. That's a London bullion market good delivery bar. And the price is approximately $500,000, as you can see here. Now, when you've been saving in grams of gold and silver, Swiss Gold Global. When you want to take physical delivery of that product, you need to then convert those grams, that bullion grams that you've got, into the physical product. So you bought the gold, you purchased the silver. Now you want to actually have it into a specific type product that you actually want. Okay, let's just go over that. So the products, as an example, 100 gram bar, 100 grams, let's say on a gold price of 1,250, it's going to be around about $4,000 in metal cost. This bar here has a metal price of around about $500,000. And the conversion cost to get this produced, as in, remember, this is 999.9 pure, this is 995 pure, so this requires further refining. It's also not 12.44 kilos, this is a minted bar, this is a poured cast bar. There's much more detail and work involved with cast bars, and of course the purity, which means there's other expenses to add to that. Now in general, for the 100 gram bar, it's going to be $30 to have your grams converted to a 100 gram bar. Now $30 on $4,000, it's a very, very small cost in the percentage terms over and above the spot price. But the point I want to make here, as the gold price, as your gold weight, the intrinsic value, for example, the 50 gram bar here, it has half of the intrinsic value because it is half of the weight. The production cost is the same, which means the percentage over spot price is going to be actually increased compared to the 100 gram bar. The 1 ounce bar, incidentally the 1 ounce, which is 1 troy ounce, which is what the market spot price is based on, is actually 31.103 grams. It's called 1 troy ounce. So that would be production cost, that would be $30 compared to 1 troy ounce or 1,250. Then you have a 5 gram bar, which is 0.161 of an ounce. That is a value of $210. Now the production cost for the 5 gram bar is $20, but not a big difference, because there is a significant difference from the value of the intrinsic value of the gold, which is $210, versus, for example, the 50 grams, which is 10 times the amount, or of course the 100 gram bar for a similar cost of production. Of course, then you go to the 1 gram ingot, just as an example. 1 gram has a price of $40, has an intrinsic value of $40, and the cost to produce is $20. So straight away, simple mathematics, you are 50% above market spot price. So what I'm actually trying to guide you here, when you're saving in grams of gold and in silver, of course, let your grams accumulate. If you can go from a 1 gram, instead of taking delivery of the 1 gram, go to the 5 grams. It's the same production cost to produce this as it is this, but you have 5 times the amount of intrinsic value, which is fantastic, which means, of course, your percentage over spot is greatly reduced. And of course, as you increase in weight, the price comes down even further. But with that said, having small ingots, there's also the other side. There's a positive thing in that it's easy to liquidate. Not always easy to liquidate 100 grams, or certainly a good delivery bar. But having 5 grams and 1 ounces and 1 grams, of course, you pay an extra for that. But of course, it's very, very liquid as well. And of course, we also have our private collectibles, which I have touched on. So just to recap, when converting, if you can convert to a heavier weight, to have a higher intrinsic value, you're going to actually reduce the price of market over spot. And as the price of gold increases, of course, because the production cost is fixed, it's also going to reduce the price as well. Let's look at silver. Now, silver good delivery bar is 1,000 troy ounces. They're big and they're much heavier. Sorry, they're not as heavy in that respect, because actually silver is not as dense metal as gold, but this is 1,000 troy ounces versus a 400 troy ounces of gold. So this one's actually 31 kilos, so it is much bigger than the gold bar. It has a delivery value of around about $20,000. Of course, as you can see here, we have our range of products also. Now we have our King David, which is 3 ounces at $20. At $20 an ounce, that's $60 in intrinsic value without the production cost. Production cost, let's say it's $20 to produce this. That means you're putting yourself at 33% above the market spot on that. If you converted to the 250-gram bar, you'd bring that market spot price down because you have a lot more gold to deal with. You have more ounces there compared to, of course, the 3 ounce there. The 500-gram bar, you have more intrinsic value again, $320 versus $60. So that's bringing the price down. Of course, the kilogram bar, you're bringing it down to maybe 4 or 5%. And as the silver price also over time increases, the silver production cost of specs, it's also going to reduce the price. And if the gold price or silver price goes down, you'll also see conversely that the percentage over spot will marginally increase as well. But again, with wealth preservation, we're talking long term here. We're talking long term, so don't be too concerned about that. We have something that we call the London Bullion Market Chain of Integrity. Now what we mean by that is, I said earlier on that we don't get to handle your gold and silver. I mean, I go to the refinery and I go to Loomis, of course, but when it comes to handling your gold and silver, we don't get to actually handle that. It's actually produced and refined at Argor-Heraeus. It's then shipped by Loomis International from Argor-Heraeus in southern Switzerland directly to Loomis International in Switzerland. And we also, Loomis International in Dubai, we also deal direct with Argor-Heraeus in Switzerland as well. This is what we call the London Bullion Market Chain of Integrity. Now there's one more thing to know about this, which is really important when it comes to liquidation. When your gold and silver is held in what we call the London Bullion Market Chain of Integrity, it is very liquid. So you've been saving towards some gold and silver, but all of a sudden you decide that you wanted to liquidate. Well, it's held within this range chain of integrity, either at Argor or at Loomis. You just place your sell back order, and the next day we'll put it to the market price, and whatever the Argor-Heraeus Refinery London Bullion Market sell price is, that is the price that you get. And for active members, there's no fee charge for that. There's zero fee charge for that. And the next 3 to 4 days, the money is pretty much back into your account. Now, if you took physical delivery of the gold or silver to your home, we've actually broken what we call the chain of integrity, which means, yes, we can still buy it back, but there's a couple of things to recognize here. One, you must actually get the gold and silver back to us into Switzerland or into Dubai. It's then got to be sent to the refinery. They will melt it down, reassay it, recertify it before we're able to give you the price. So how would you liquidate if you've taken physical delivery? Well, all around the world, there are many pawn shops. There's people everywhere saying, we want your gold, we want your silver, we want your junk jewelry, whatever it might be. So there's plenty and plenty of physical demand for your gold and silver. You just need to know what the intrinsic value of your gold and silver is at that time when you wish to sell. And then you're in the open free trade market. They're going to say, well, the gold price is at 1,250. You have a 1 ounce coin here. We're going to give you 10 or 20% below market spot. You're going to say, that's not right. I'll accept maybe 5%. You have to give them something, of course. But you say, this is a London Bullion Market accredited refiner, Argor-Heraeus, full certification. In fact, if they're in the gold business, they will recognize the hallmark of Argor-Heraeus. But now you're in the free market. So that's going to depend upon how you actually do sell and what you decide to accept for that particular gold or silver that you actually do have. A golden secret? The golden secret really is accumulate, don't speculate. And it's really important. As I said, I learned back in 2003 when I went to invest actually a 7-figure into an international energy fund in Switzerland. I was introduced to the world of precious metals, and I was actually told then about what rulers of empires, royalty, and the financial elite did. Think long term, think generational, and gold and silver is only a small part of your portfolio. So, and it's very, very liquid, the process that we have. So be very balanced in your approach to this. this is really important. If you go to our website under FAQs at the bottom of the homepage, you'll see I speak about this, and there's a document called there, which is the actual document about industry standards. It's actually the sustainability report from Argor Horias. Now it says here, we have consciously and purposefully selected Argor Horias as our preferred choice in precious metal refining industry standards with a clean gold policy. And that is absolute truth. We only source our gold from Argor Horias, because they source their gold from London Bullion Market accredited actual mines and sources around the world. We don't want to get involved in one sense on the dark side of mining, which there certainly is. We want to make sure the human rights and standards are respected. Also toxins, the cyanide, mercury, which often pollutes villages and towns, poisons people, of course. When you read this report, I encourage you to actually click on the link on the FAQs, read it. You'll be surprised of what Argor Horias, a Swiss company, does when it comes to the services. They do not put any toxins back, and they have very strict standards when it comes to, of course, where they source their gold or silver from. So how do you convert your gold and silver? Well, first thing, you must make sure that you have enough grams. Just as an example here, this one's showing 16 grams of gold being saved over a period of time. This one's showing over 4,000 grams of silver. So if you wanted to convert that, it's very liquid in that form. You put a sell back order in. Next day, it would actually go to the London Bullion Market. It would be sold the amount of grams that you actually wanted to sell, and the money would be put back to your account as requested within probably 3 to 5 work days. You then go to your precious metal catalog, where you have a choice of the different products. So sellback is very easy, and as I said, there is no sellback fee. Zero sellback fee is applicable to active members. Non-active members and free accounts will incur a 2.97% sellback fee for processing and administration. So I want to thank you for your attendance. I hope that you've learned much. We look forward to supporting you in building real wealth with Swiss Gold Global and cash flow. Thank you.